Nikki, an experienced outdoor enthusiast, set out for a wild camping trip deep in the backpack country of western North Carolina. With her husband venturing nearly 8 miles off-road, they pushed through rugged, washed-out terrain, maneuvering past fallen trees and jagged rocks until they found a secluded clearing near a gated forest road. The area was isolated, peaceful, and seemingly perfect for an overnight stay. But as the night unfolded, it became clear that something was off. After setting up camp, Nikki decided to explore the road beyond the gate almost immediately. Latterly, she heard a strange knocking sound echoing from the trees. At first, she dismissed it as the wind, a woodpecker, or shifting branches, but the rhythm felt deliberate. It wasn't random, it was controlled.
Before it gets dark, I think I'm gonna walk up the road, or this road, just to see what's around that little corner right there. I don't know how far I'll go, but yeah, it's about time to build a fire. Thought I heard some knocking coming from that direction. Kinda sound like somebody knocking on a tree, but could have been a woodpecker or anything like that, I guess. But I don't hear it now, so we'll just
as dusk fell, she returned to camp and her husband arrived soon after. Together, they walked through the surrounding area, scanning with their flashlights. That's when they saw it, a pair of reflective eyes staring at them from the tree line. Something was watching them, but what was even stranger was that their GoPro failed to capture the reflection. Normally, animal eye shine would be visible on camera, yet this time, it wasn't. Then the knocking sounds returned, but now the sounds were moving first from one direction, then another, as if something or someone was circling them.
damn, it's really bad up here.
Yeah, they did have to do some bulldozing through here.
Sorry. I'm gonna get over here to the video. How it twisted those trees like that.
If you look at that big tree right here, I got my light on.
Wow.
Look at how it twisted it over.
Wow.
It's that right there.
Something reflected right there. The GoPro's not picking it up, but your lights are. It's something in a tree.
The couple exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't just the normal sounds of a forest at night. It was something else. And then they found something that made their stomachs drop further away from their camp. Deep in the dirt, they came across a massive footprint. It was far larger than a human's, and embedded deep into the ground, suggesting that something incredibly heavy had left it behind. It was impossible to ignore. This wasn't a bear, and it didn't resemble any common animal.
Huge. It's a big old track. Compared to my track. Compared to yours, but it's still big.
Right here.
The eerie feeling of being watched grew unbearable. They decided to return to camp and settle in for the night. But when they got back to their campsite, something else unnerved them. The forest was too quiet. No birds, no insects, no rustling in the underbrush. The usual night sounds of the wilderness were completely absent, as if the entire forest had gone silent all at once. This wasn't normal. The overwhelming silence only deepened their unease. They spent the rest of the night inside their Forerunner resting, but never fully relaxing morning finally arrived, and with it a sense of relief. The night had been tense, but nothing had approached them. They packed up quickly, ready to leave the previous night behind. Was it just an unexplained coincidence? A strange footprint, eerie knocking sounds, and an unusually silent forest, or had they stepped into the territory of something that didn't want them there? Now back to the video deep in the forest. Ghost Hunter Villa embarked on an exploration to uncover the mysteries surrounding an abandoned building, rumored to be haunted. This was no ordinary abandoned house. It had a reputation for strange occurrences, eerie lights, and unexplained activity. But what they encountered that night was far more disturbing than any ghost story from the beginning. The atmosphere felt off as they walked toward the structure. They discussed the local legends' stories of mysterious lights appearing in the forest, and even alleged Bigfoot sightings. They weren't sure what to believe, but they were determined to investigate.
Now, this is a shooting gallery, guys. It's a shooting gallery, which means, guess what, guys? It could be haunted. Oh, wait, no. We're gonna go inside of there. We're gonna explore it. Although we already did it, but we want to know if the inside is haunted or not. That's the main goal here.
The building itself looked like a shooting gallery, with bullet holes in the walls and shattered windows. It had clearly been abandoned for a long time. They cautiously stepped inside, scanning their surroundings for any sign of paranormal activity.
Wow. Yep, something's here, right? Oh, this is...
Then things started getting weird inside. They noticed fresh footprints, which meant that someone else had been there recently. But the real shock came when they looked outside. A figure in a white hazmat suit stood in the distance, watching them. They froze. Who was he, and why was he out there alone, in the middle of the forest? They tried to keep an eye on him, but as soon as they turned back, he was gone.
Let me know what this... Oh. Somebody... Somebody in a white hazmat suit. White hazmat suit on that guy's property. Holy cow.
Confused and unsettled, they continued their investigation. They tried to rationalize what they had seen. Maybe it was someone inspecting the area for toxic waste, or maybe a local just passing through, but deep down, something didn't feel right. Then they spotted something even stranger. They saw him again. The man in the hazmat suit appeared once more, standing in the shadows, watching them. This time, they were sure they weren't alone out there. Panic set in. Trying to stay calm, they continued filming, but every moment felt heavier.
Oh, cool. Dude. Somebody broke the window out of this. There's no way. There's no way of getting in there. Somebody's been shooting up the place. Oh, right there. I just seen him. I'm scared too. He's right there.
Oh, yeah.
What is he doing? No, that's an hazmat suit. I zoomed up on her.
You see him turn around?
No.
Have something on him?
What's locked up in his cages? Dude, he's got an...
As if something was about to happen. Finally realizing they might be in danger, They decided it was time to leave as they reviewed their footage. Later, they couldn't shake the eerie feeling that they had just scratched the surface of something deeply unsettling. Deep in the wilderness, far from civilization exploring, with Bear embarked on a camping trip. Unlike any other, his destination was an area known for its eerie legends, Bigfoot territory. This wasn't his first time exploring remote locations, but something about this particular trip felt different. The area had long been rumored to be home to aggressive Bigfoot clans, and those who ventured too deep often came back with unsettling stories from the start. Strange occurrences began to unfold during a live stream. Before this recorded adventure, Bear experienced something he couldn't explain. A massive crash echoed from the forest behind him. At the same time, he was hit with an overwhelming wave of emotion. He suddenly felt sick, unable to focus, and nearly broke down in tears. It was an intense, uncontrollable feeling, one he had never experienced before. Shaken by the incident, he decided to return, but this time he wouldn't go alone. He brought Doug from Fear Fanatics and another explorer, Dave, for backup. Together, they planned to retrace Bear's steps and see if they could find whatever had caused the disturbance. As they walked deeper into the forest, the unsettling atmosphere only grew stronger. The trees creaked in the wind and the dense underbrush muffled their footsteps. Bear warned his team to keep their eyes on the treetops, as sightings of large, shadowy figures moving through the branches had been reported before. Then something caught his eye. For a split second, he saw eyes reflecting light from a distance. It was just a flash. There, one moment, gone. The next.
I think I just saw eyes over there a second ago. Is that eyes? Man, them guys left already. Okay, I don't see them now, but I thought I did for a second.
They pressed on, keeping their guard up. As they moved further in, they found a strange structure, a pile of stacked branches and logs, resembling the kind of formations that Bigfoot researchers often attribute to the creatures marking their territory. Then it happened again. A loud, heavy crash broke the silence, coming from somewhere deep within the woods. It wasn't a falling branch or a small animal. This was something big. The three men froze. The sound was unnatural, as if something had deliberately thrown a massive object.
This trail's flooded.
It is. It's a little soupy. Oh.
What?
I don't know.
Something?
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it though. Are your ears covered? Man, I should have my hat off my ears.
They were, but
The hat,
I heard something.
yeah, the hat takes away a lot from my hearing.
Dead lost kittens.
Oh, I hope nobody heard that. That's nightmarish.
What?
They heard something moving, Bear, usually. Fearless felt the same sickening wave of emotion return, the same overwhelming sense of dread and unease that had paralyzed him during the live stream. Whatever was out there, it was watching them. Doug and Dave, equally shaken, suggested they move back toward camp. But Bear wanted to push forward. He needed to find out what was stalking them.
Ooh. Did you hear that?
Did you hear something?
Was that clicking? Did you hear clicking?
I thought it was you. Yeah, I heard that.
No, that wasn't me. That was coming from the forest. Awesome.
Doug. Something on down the road.
He's on it, man. He's gonna find him.
To find him as they continued the forest, became eerily silent. Then, from behind them, a deep growl rumbled through the trees. They spun around, scanning the darkness, but saw nothing. They were being followed at this point. Bear knew it was time to leave. He wasn't one to back down from an adventure, but something about this encounter felt different. He had explored haunted locations, abandoned buildings, and remote forests before. But he had never felt this kind of fear as they hurried back to their vehicle. The forest came alive with noise. The sounds of breaking branches and distant howls filled the air, and just before reaching the clearing, they heard it again, a low, guttural growl closer. This time, they weren't alone. Finally back at their campsite, Doug and Dave decided to leave for the night, but Bear, still trying to make sense of what had happened, stayed behind. He sat in his car trying to calm himself down, but just as he began to relax, a chilling, inhuman scream echoed from the trees. Bear immediately grabbed his camera, recording as much as he could.
Holy smokes. There's a growl right there, too. I wasn't ready for that. That was a lot of coyote.
The sound was unlike anything he had heard before. Not a coyote, not a wolf, not a human. It was something else. Even after Doug and Dave had left the forest, wasn't finished with him. Later that night, as he lay in his tent, he heard knocking sounds, as if something was hitting trees, sending deliberate signals.
Listen. House, that was Woots. Listen. Grab that kid. Woo! Did you guys hear that on camera? That was a hollering, man. A couple times. I had the camera going that time. I hope you heard it. I've heard that other times when the camera wasn't going. It's hollers, man.
Man, this is a known behavior, attributed to Bigfoot encounters, where they use tree knocks to communicate or warn others. The next morning, exhausted and rattled, he packed up and left. He didn't know what exactly he had encountered that night, but one thing was certain: something had been watching them. Chris and Mick, two outdoor enthusiasts behind The Blot, outdoor show, set out on a stealth camping trip unlike any they had done before their destination. The abandoned St. Andrew's Church in Caen, England. Built in 1769, the church had stood untouched for nearly 50 years, left to decay in the elements. Its isolated location, crumbling structure, and eerie atmosphere made it a prime location for ghost hunters. Though Chris and Mick were not ghost hunters at all. Chris in particular was a skeptic. He never entertained the idea of ghosts or paranormal activity, and he made sure to mention that several times before entering the church for him. This was just another camping trip, albeit with a creepier setting than usual. Mick, on the other hand, seemed slightly more on edge about the whole experience. As the sun began to set, they set up their tent on the church grounds, making sure to avoid camping directly on any graves. They joked around, cracked open a few drinks, and planned their next move. The plan was simple: have a few drinks, cook some food, and explore the church before settling in for the night. But things didn't go as planned. As darkness fully set in, they decided it was time to take a look inside the abandoned church. Walking through the graveyard, their flashlights barely cut through the dense darkness. They reached the church's wooden doors, expecting them to be locked. After all, the building had been abandoned for decades. But to their surprise, the doors were open. Chris and Mick exchanged glances before stepping inside. The air was thick damp, with the scent of age and decay. Their flashlights revealed wooden pews covered in layers of dust and cobwebs. Time had seemed frozen. Inside the church, everything had been left as it was, decades ago, untouched and forgotten. For a few moments, the two walked through the silent space, taking it all in. Mick whispered about how eerie the place felt, but Chris brushed off any tension. Then, out of nowhere, a loud bang echoed through the church.
Obviously, they must leave the door open now and again. The fuck? The fuck's it? I'm out of here. Sorry, guys. What the fuck was that?
Both men froze in place, their flashlights darted toward the source of the noise. But nothing was out of place. Chris, still skeptical, tried to rationalize it. It's probably just a bird knocking something over, he muttered. Though the tension in his voice suggested otherwise, Mick, visibly shaken, wanted to leave immediately. He had no desire to stick around and find out what caused the noise. They rushed outside, catching their breath in the cold night air. For a while, they sat outside their tent, trying to shake off the unease after a few drinks to calm their nerves. Chris, being the skeptic that he was, convinced Mick to go back inside. He wanted to prove that there was nothing supernatural going on, that they had simply let their imaginations get the best of them. But this time the atmosphere was different. The air inside the church felt heavier, the silence more oppressive. Chris tried to keep the mood lighthearted, joking about how ghost hunters would probably love this place. Mick, however, was not amused. He followed closely, uneasy about re-entering the church. Then, another loud bang. This time, it was even louder. Mick didn't hesitate. He bolted out of the church, not looking back.
Rish, Mick. Oh, here we go. We've got a photograph of young Chris here. Oh, sorry, guys. It's not young Chris. Apologies. It's Jesus Christ. Our the son.
Milky buttons there.
Yeah, milky buttons. What? What the
The Chris, despite his usual bravado, also admitted that something felt off. This wasn't just an old building settling. Something was inside that church. With them, they never went back in. They spent the rest of the night outside, avoiding the church entirely. Eventually, they crawled into their tent and tried to sleep. Though the unease lingered, but the most terrifying part, they didn't realize what they had captured on camera. It wasn't until their viewers pointed it out in the comments that they noticed something lurking in the darkness in the footage, just as they were leaving. A shadowy figure can be seen peering at them from behind a doorway. Chris and Mick had no idea it was there. Had it been watching them the whole time? Had it been the source of the noises? Chris had spent the whole trip joking about ghosts and paranormal activity, dismissing any fear as irrational. But this footage, it left even him questioning what they had experienced. One thing was certain. Chris and Mick had gone looking for a stealth camping adventure. Instead, they brought something back with them. Beneath the bustling streets of Paris lies a world few have dared to explore, a vast labyrinth of underground tunnels known as the Paris Catacombs, home to the skeletal remains of over 6 million people. The catacombs are a haunting reminder of the city's past. Their dark corridors, lined with neatly stacked bones and skulls, but beyond the marked tourist paths lies an even deeper, uncharted network of tunnels. It is within this underground maze that one of the oldest internet mysteries was born, a 1-minute video that has circulated online since the early 1990s, showing what appears to be the final moments of a lone explorer. The footage is grainy, unsettling. It begins with a man navigating the narrow, claustrophobic tunnels. At first, there is nothing out of the ordinary, just the eerie silence of the catacombs, broken only by the sound of his footsteps. But as the video progresses, something changes. The man's breathing becomes heavier. His pace quickens, his flashlight frantically scans the walls, the camera shaking in his hands. Whatever started as a routine exploration is now something else entirely. Panic sets in, he starts running. His fear is palpable, though we never see what he is running from. He stumbles through the darkness deeper into the tunnels, his breath ragged and uneven. Then suddenly he drops the camera. The device lands on the cold stone floor, its lens pointing into the endless darkness of the tunnel. Footsteps echo in the distance fading away, until all that remains is the stillness of the catacomb. The video ends there. The man is never seen again. The camera was supposedly discovered by another explorer in one of the deepest parts of the catacombs, still fully functional who found it, and when remains unknown for decades. This footage has fascinated internet sleuths and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Theories range from a lost explorer vanishing without a trace to an elaborate hoax, to stir up urban legends. There's no official record of anyone disappearing in the catacombs around the time the video was found. Some believe it was nothing more than an art project carefully staged to create an air of mystery. But one eerie fact remains unlike the more accessible areas of the catacombs. Where graffiti covers the walls, the footage shows untouched stone. This means the man was deep inside the tunnels, far beyond the reach of casual visitors. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. Dan Brown, an experienced camper and outdoor enthusiast, set out on what was supposed to be his first solo wild camping trip. Having spent over 15 years camping in the wilderness, usually with groups, he decided to take on the challenge alone. However, his night in the woods would quickly turn into a terrifying experience that forced him to flee in fear. From the very start, things were off. Dan began his journey late in the evening, meaning he had to navigate the dense woodland. In total darkness, his backpack was heavy. His shoes were falling apart, and the damp ground from earlier rain made the tray even more exhausting. Still, he pushed forward, determined to reach his campsite. At first, everything seemed normal. He recorded some footage talking about how excited he was for the night ahead. But as he ventured deeper into the woods, an uneasy feeling crept in. Then he started noticing something strange. He began seeing flashes of light deep in the trees. At first, he convinced himself it was his imagination, just a trick of the dim lighting. But soon it became impossible to ignore. The flashes kept appearing in different locations, making it seem like something or someone was watching him. His unease grew as he continued. Things took an even darker turn. A bright flashlight shone directly into the woods, WS scanning the area. It wasn't just a random flicker.
Lonely now. I was just shining the torch round on full beam, showing like the woods to the camera. Some car somewhere on a road up there stopped, and I swear a torch shone into the trees, obviously from well above my head, but it's just... They are literally... Can you see this on the ground? They're literally looking straight at me. I know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm literally crouched. I'm sat on the ground. Right, the camera off. After
Dan froze. His heart pounded. Had someone been following him? Was he trespassing without realizing it? He wasn't sure, but something felt wrong. Then he noticed figures moving near the road. It wasn't just his paranoia. Someone or multiple people were scanning the woods, their flashlights sweeping back and forth. Panic set in. Dan immediately dropped to the ground, hoping to make himself invisible in the darkness. He turned off his camera, trying not to make a sound. He sat in complete silence, waiting. Minutes passed. The lights continued to scan the forest. Moving closer, Dan didn't know what to do. Should he call for help? Should he run? Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the lights disappeared. He stayed hidden for several more minutes, making sure whoever was out there was gone. Once he was confident the area was clear, he moved quickly, staying as low and quiet as possible. He decided to abandon his original campsite and push further into the hills. His plan was to find a new, more hidden location to set up his tent. But the night wasn't over yet. As he climbed higher, the weather turned against him. Thick fog rolled in, obscuring his visibility. The wind picked up, dropping the temperature dramatically. If he continued toward the exposed hilltop, where he had planned to camp, he'd be completely vulnerable, both to the weather and to whoever might still be lurking nearby for the next 7 miles. He remained on high alert, constantly checking his surroundings. Every noise, every distant light made his stomach tighten. The fear of being followed never left him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he made it back to safety. After all the experiences of the night, one thing was certain. This was a night he wouldn't forget. And with that, I'll take your leave. Thanks for watching till the very last. Please, let me know your thoughts on the video and how you think we can make our videos better. Because at the end of the day, you're the ones who we make these videos for, and your opinion is what truly matters to us. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out more disturbing videos.